Good morning, televiewers of my Media Prime Television, and happy weekend from us on this platform, which is of course dedicated or always dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. On today's edition of the program, the newspapers are focusing on the meeting which held at the Prime Minister's office yesterday, a committee that was set up to implement the recommendations arrived at during the major national dialogue. The fourth committee meeting was yesterday to evaluate how far they have gone with the implementation of the recommendations of the major national dialogue. We shall tell you more about how the meeting unfolded yesterday with those that were invited from the diaspora as well as from the northwest and the southwest regions of the country to come evaluate how far those resolutions or recommendations have so far been implemented 3 years after the holding of the major national dialogue that was aimed at resolving the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here. Let's have the headlines in the French language newspaper. Gwladys, good morning and a happy weekend.
Merci beaucoup, Lasha. Bonjour à toi. Bonjour à vous et bon week-end à vous aussi. Une fois de plus, merci de nous retrouver aussi nombreux pour cette autre édition de Debrief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur My Media Prime Télévision. Alors, ce matin, nous allons débuter avec le journal Réalité Quotidien Plus. Le journal Réalité Quotidien Plus nous parle en grand titre des grandes résolutions du Grand Dialogue National. La mise en œuvre de ces recommandations du Grand Dialogue National, ça avance dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest. Le comité de suivi piloté par le Premier ministre Joseph Diongouté a évalué les actions menées sur le terrain après la période stressante au cours de laquelle les terroristes trompaient et violentaient les populations. Les détails sont donc en page 2 et 3 du journal quotidien Réalité Plus ce matin. En page 7, le journal nous parle du Hajj 2022. Tout sur les 4050 pèlerins camerounais. Ils sont donc tous rentrés contents. La note donnée ici dans le quotidien Réalité Plus, c'est 18,5% à l'équipe d'Atangandi. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous poursuivons ce matin avec l'œil du Sahel qui nous parle de Juvett, 6 terroristes de Boko Haram tués par l'armée camerounaise. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de l'œil du Sahel ce matin. À sa page 6, le journal nous parle des défis du nouveau préfet du Mayo d'année. C'est à lire donc son portrait dans cette édition de l'œil du Sahel à sa page 6. À sa page 7, le journal nous parle du Nord. 15% de la population touchée par l'hépatite B. En page 5, le journal nous parle de la ville de Yaoundé, la seconde vie des pneus de voiture. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, ce matin avec le journal Le Jour. Le journal Le Jour parle en grand titre de beignets haricots bouillis, la malbouffe. C'est la question que pose ce matin le journal Le Jour. Le reportage donc sur les conseils pratiques de nutritionnistes, c'est dans cette édition du journal Le Jour à sa page 2 et 3. À sa page 5, le journal nous parle du grand dialogue national. Le Premier ministre fait donc le bilan 4 ans après. À sa page 9, le journal nous parle des Jeux du Commonwealth. Le Cameroun remporte donc sa première médaille d'or. Nous clôturons, mesdames, messieurs, ce matin avec le journal Émergence. Émergence quotidien parle en grand titre de la rupture du contrat entre Samuel Eto'o-Fils et le coq sportif. Un enjeu de 10 milliards de francs CFA. Les détails sont donc en page 5 du quotidien Émergence ce matin. À sa page 2, le journal nous parle de l'hépatite, comment éviter la transmission de la mère à l'enfant. En page 8, le journal nous parle de gestion de marché à bétail, un système d'information en gestation au Cameroun. En page 8, le journal nous parle du barrage de Nachigal. Une pêcherie est donc en préparation, toujours dans notre pays, le Cameroun. Mesdames, Messieurs, voilà tout pour vos titres en langue française. Place à la découverte des titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwladys Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart this morning with the Reporter newspaper. The Reporter this morning, like I mentioned in my introduction, is focusing on the meeting which held at the Prime Minister's office yesterday on the conflict in the northwest and southwest regions. Life is gradually returning to normalcy. We must work together to consolidate peace. Those were the words of Chief Dr. Joseph Diongouté, the Prime Minister of Cameroon, who was chairing that fourth committee meeting, to implement or to see how far the major national dialogue recommendations have been implemented 3 years after the holding of that historic come together meant for the resolution of the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. But meant that people say no to 1 month lockdown, writes the Reporter newspaper. The 1 month lockdown, which was called by separatist fighters, has been rejected by the entire population of the northwest region of the country. This time around, the paper is focusing on the decision taken by the population to reject the 1 month lockdown that was called by suspected or separatist fighters in that part of the country. We continue to talk other issues in the Reporter newspaper. This time around, we are talking about SDF's letter to Biya on Macron's visit. Honorable Forba Chinda answers Frundi's detractors set records straight. You can read more in this edition of the Reporter newspaper, talking about the outing of Honorable Forba Chinda, who has reacted concerning some of the utterances of what the paper terms detractors of the Frundi-led SDF party. You can read more in this edition of the Reporter newspaper. On to the Post or the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post this morning is telling us that the major national dialogue recommendations implementation follow-up committee met yesterday and reviewed route covered in 3 years. PM Diongute urges northwest and southwest population to embrace government initiatives. The paper tells us further that some 3 years after the major national dialogue, which was aimed at seeking solutions to the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, the committee to follow up recommendations that accrued from the dialogue has received or reviewed the route covered so far. This was yesterday in Yaoundé during the fourth session of the committee to follow up the implementation of the recommendations of the major national dialogue. More details on page 9 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post is also telling us on page 7 that a 16-year-old boy has been stabbed to death in a scuffle with armed robbers in Douala. The 16-year-old guard is reported to have been stabbed to death in Douala in the littoral region of the country. The sad incident is said to have occurred at the Bepanda neighborhood during a scuffle between the boy and the suspected theft. You can read more on page 7 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. The Express newspaper this morning is focusing on what women have said at the four-track opening ceremony. Women call on CEMAC member countries to put aside ego, ensure effective sub-regional integration. You can read more in this edition of the Express newspaper. We end with the Horizon. The Horizon this morning is focusing on the major national dialogue recommendation, the fourth committee or the fourth session, which held yesterday at the Star Building. And the PM has said yesterday that we have scorched the snake, but we have not killed it. Those were the words of PM Diongute during the meeting yesterday, talking about what is happening in the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. And talking about armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, a Cameroonian who has been angered by Anglophone crisis, 32 years old Cameroonian, voiced to challenge President Paul Biya in the upcoming presidential elections of 2025. More details in this edition of the Horizon newspaper. Thank you for watching, televiewers of My Media Prime. This is what we gathered this morning on some of the major headlines. Let's move straight to our talking point. And of course, this morning we are focusing on the meeting at the Star Building yesterday, the fourth session of committee, the committee that was put in place to ensure or follow up the recommendations, to see that the recommendations of the major national dialogue are were actually implemented, made yesterday in Yaoundé, chaired by Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute. And we equally had people who came from the diaspora to take part in that meeting, in the likes of Padi Asanga, Dr. Victor Mbarika, or Professor Victor Mbarika, and a host of others. And Metro Alex Ndive, you are joining me this morning on the line to the UK for us to talk on this meeting which held at the Star Building yesterday. What is your own assessment of the meeting to see how far the recommendations of the major national dialogue, of which you were part of it, have been so far implemented?
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Gwladys. Good morning to your entire team. I must seize this occasion maybe to say something. Tomorrow I will be having a wakekeeping in connection to my sister Evelyn Enanga Lisinge, and there will be a funeral on Monday. I know you on this platform, you were following what I was going through sometime when I was on your platform. So I want to make that announcement, and I wish my late sister well. I'm talking about the meeting that was held in Yaoundé by chief. When I say chief, a chief who should be neutral, not to be playing politics. Chief who is a prime minister. Once as you do politics, you encourage division. So my position is that chief, they should not be doing politics.
But we often have chiefs in the past. We have chiefs in the past being holding position in the likes of my late chief.
A chief is somebody who runs a traditional people. You should be neutral, just like the Queen of England is neutral when it comes to politics. You cannot be a chief and be doing politics. So that's my first point.
Okay.
So he is divisive. Let me continue and answer your question. The first point I want to make: how can somebody, this former university lecturer, Chief Diongute, say we have scotched the snake, but not what killed it? Who is a snake? When you get those type of language to people who are holding responsibility, they are speaking like those who were calling people in Rwanda. Some people were rats, they should kill them. Who is the snake? Mr. John Duce must come and tell us on TV. You're calling citizens of the Cameroons that they are snake? You're not a good leader, my friend, my former professor. You don't use those type of language if you want to reconcile the country. My point again I will make: if you build a foundation on lies, I was in the national dialogue, as you said, I was present. My invitation is still here with me. I have a copy. I was not the only one in that national dialogue. The invitation, it was clear. Let's talk about the situation in Northwest and Southwest. That was not the case. We never talk about the situation in Northwest and Southwest. Anybody who was there should come and tell me that we did. We went there before we arrived. There were 8 committees: education, decentralization, what they did. In one Cameroon, Padi is in SDF, which SDF is a sister party of the CPDM. That is what is going on. You cannot be talking among yourself, then you say you want to solve the problem in the Cameroons. Prime Minister Diongute made this point. Cameroon is returning to what? I mean, the Northwest and Southwest is returning to normalcy. The last time he was there, he was hiding. Guns were passing over his head, and life is returning to normalcy. President Ahijo went to Tiko and walked the street with less military people beside him. Paul Biya went to Bamenda, walked the street with less military people beside him. Let Prime Minister Diongute go to Bamenda and walk, let me see. Who are you fooling? You stay in Yaoundé, you're okay, everything is sweet and good, then you come and talk, life is returning to normalcy. Will we talk? The time will come. And if people like Prime Minister Diongute, they don't want Cameroonians from all cross-sections to talk, by the time we'll be talking, there will be refugees who will be in Cameroon talking about how to solve that problem. They are in a position to fix our country. They are in a position to talk about devolution. There's no devolution. There's no decentralization in Cameroon. When they talk about recommendation, I want one person. I was there with Mr. Minister Chiruma, Daikole Daisala, Bello Buba, and other people, Professor Victor Ngo. Let them come and tell me that I'm lying, that there was a recommendation. Who made that recommendation?
You guys agree now. You debated on certain issues in their different commissions and you agreed.
No, Mr. Lasha, unfortunately, 3 years ago, nobody have ever interviewed me when I came there.
No, I've interviewed you like more than 5 times on my program, the agenda.
I mean precisely about what happened there. No newspaper in Cameroon precisely have ever interviewed, and that's why I say sometimes we are laid back. Nobody. Yes. I was there. I was present in the Decentralization Commission. I have my badge. I have my number here.
So who made those recommendations, Maitre Alex? What you are saying today
there was
is that
no recommendation.
So who made them? Who made them? Who made them?
Before we arrived there, they have made their fate complete. They have made commissions. I will tell you something. What happened in the educational committee, which was headed by Professor Dorothy Njoma. Famdongo was there. He was trying to say that they should merge the system between the Anglophone education and the French education. Madame Dorothy Njoma did very well. She kept on telling the people, what do you want? And people will put their hand up. He said, as the participants have agreed. Famdongo wanted to merge what we fought against in the mid-1980s about René Zengere trying to merge our educational system. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with us practicing the English part system and the French system in different sides? Are the people in Canada, the Quebec, are they idiots? Are the people in the Catalan for giving these people parliament, are they idiots? Are the United Kingdom, the government giving the people of Scotland a parliament, are they idiots? If we want democracy, let's practice democracy. And if we don't want democracy, let's all go back to our nation. I'll be happy for us Backward people to be running our own institution. I'll be happy for Mankom people, people in Miami, Betty people. If they don't want,
Maitre, from what you are saying, you are for decentralization. You say there is no decentralization. What kind of decentralization do you want to see the government implement?
The first question I was asking, decentralization means removing powers from the central government and giving it backward to a single government, giving it back to the people. And it should not be focused on region. We are not region. We are not geographical location. Provinces and region was created by Aijo. We were not region. The people of Northwest and Southwest did not join La République du Cameroon as Northwest and Southwest. They joined as a country. What do I want to see as decentralization if they want? Decentralization should focus on the tribes. That's what I call ethno-cultural democracy. We have decentralization in the UK. It's focusing on the Scottish tribe, not on geographical location, that Northwest in the UK. It's focusing on what Irish people is a tribe. It's focusing on what English people is a tribe. It's focusing on what Welsh people is a tribe. So then, we need to respect the two institutions. Cameroon was created by foreigners, Portuguese, then Dutch, then other people. Cameroon was created by foreigners. So what I'm saying, either we respect this country that was created by the French and the English, or we dissolve it, we go back to our ethno-cultural democracy.
That's what the government has done already. By merging, we back as one Cameroon now. What do you want again? We are one Cameroon.
My point is, when you come and talk about one Cameroon, tell me, how do you want to talk about one Cameroon when you build roads only in Kribi Lullaby, double-way road? You don't do it in Victoria, in Limbe. Tell me how do you want to say one Cameroon when you build deep seaport in Kribi, there is no deep seaport in Victoria. That is division. The policies of the government of the Cameroon is a separatist policy. The government is practicing a policy that they are the one. The people they call separatists are not separatists. It's the government of La République du Cameroon from Amadou Ahidjo that they signed the cooperation agreement in 1959 with France when we were not part of that country. They signed their cooperation agreement. Now they are punishing us with their cooperation agreement. They are a separatist government. They are a separatist government. It's not the people of Northwest and Southwest who are separatists. Mr. Bia is a separatist. Why? If you see there's a reference hospital, it's mostly where? In the other part of our brothers, our lovely brothers. I'm talking politics here. I'm not talking against Francophone because my best friend and relatives are Francophone. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this institutional cabal that they were destroying our country. They don't own Cameroon. We own Cameroon. My blood is Cameroon. My life is Cameroon. I drink Cameroon every day. It is our country. And if we don't want to respect the country that was created by these foreigners, Rio dos Cameroon, River Wuri, let's dissolve it. Either we respect it. I don't want to hear about federation. I want to hear about two institutions came together. Scottish people are still Scottish. They signed the Union Act. Is it what? Is it 1701? More than 300 years ago. Have they changed Scottish people to be Northwest and Southwest? They are still Scottish people. It's a tribe. So we came together under foreign countries, and we should respect it. Prime Minister should not be there trying to destroy an institution that we know what is going on. I have no problem with that. We should have that choice. That choice means what? If you want to practice Enam, you are an Anglophone from Northwest and Southwest. You can go to the French side and practice Enam. If you want to practice our own system, that you have a legal system, they don't try people in the military tribunal, you come to Northwest and Southwest. I don't care how they call the name, but we know that former British Cameroon and Southern Cameroons, call it one name, we know who we are, and we are proud of who we are.
Maître, you insinuated or you claimed a moment ago that there were nothing like recommendations. So I asked you and you didn't answer me. I said, who brought up the recommendations, since you are saying you guys did not agree on anything like that? So where are the recommendations, or where did the recommendations come from?
Listen, before we went there, I know you know what a fait accompli. They have made how many commissions? 8 commissions. So they have planned their thing, they have put, is it Chairman Ngwese? And I told him openly in front of the crowd, I told him he should stop treating people like idiots. They took them, what they do in the Cameroons, when there is something like national dialogue, they put people who originally come from former Southern Cameroons to cheer it. Then they will say, they are your brothers. There was Ngwese there, Mbela Moki, my late brother Ekema, or whatsoever. They were seated there. They put Anglophones as the face. The people who are pulling the strings are in the presidency. That's what they do. And we sit there, we are happy. When this guy, is it Professor Masaga Nyamdi, when they wanted to sack him, they said Anglophones. Former Prime Minister Musonge, they keep on doing that. That is why I said Anglophones are more of a problem, the ones that are in the government, than even my Francophone politicians. They are the problem. They use them like poodle. They are happy to be doing what they are doing, and they are destroying other people. We are suffering in that country. I'm far away from that country, but when I sit where I am today in London, I feel the pain of our people. There is a way to solve the problem. One, let me tell you how it works in a democratic country, decentralization. I'll give you an example in Northern Ireland, where they have been having problems for decades. When they decided on Good Friday Agreement, who were the people who were there to solve the problem between unionists and separatists? Bill Clinton was involved. Current president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, was there. Other people in foreign countries, they came, they decided on something. After they decided on it, they have a referendum in 1998, 2 referendum. They held it. Do the people accept to share power between separatists and unionists?
Maître Alex, apparently what you are saying, you are talking English politics and not French politics, which is where the problem is.
Listen, it's not a problem. I told you that country was created by English people and French people. So either
why do you want to impose the way politics is done in England on the people who are practicing how politics is done in France? Because this is imposition now. You want things to be done the British way.
I'm just telling you, I made this point already. Cameroon was created by the Portuguese in 1520. They came there to do slavery. They had their plantation. They call it Rio dos Cameroons. They handed the slave territory in Africa later on to the Dutch. After that, the Germans, they came there. They signed treaties with some of these people, Douala, Magabe. They should not go to the interiors. That was Douala. Bakoye people were not part of that agreement. People from Miami, they were not part of it. So Cameroon was River Wuri. It did not involve us. Then later on, the Germans, they came there. What did they do? They defeated the Germans in the war. They said, oh, let's separate this, our territory, and enjoy the spoils. Cameroon was a spoil of war. Okay, fine, let's agree. These two people created, when we talk about international boundaries, we don't talk about African boundaries. So who created those boundaries? Cameroon is a foreign country. It was never created by us. The people of Bakwe, the people of Balinyonga, the people of Ndok, the people, Betty people, they were not consulted before they created that country. So it's either.
So why are we killing ourselves over nothing, over what we were not there when it was being created? So you are saying that we didn't create the country. Why not let go of what we want to protect?
And they have been putting, yes, they created the country. Listen, without us using guns, we are still killing ourselves by not having a motorway in the Cameroons ever since the so-called independence. The pyramid in Egypt was created long ago. The Cameroons, that geographical space, did not start when they colonized us. There were people who were running that country. There were people who were ruling, have military or whatsoever. I did this in sociology. We have the Manjong. I studied like Professor Allen taught us the Bafut culture. What we have those things. We were a nation. So some foreigners came and made us in a situation that we are not happy with it. We have to go back to the drawing board. We have to decide. The people of Bakwere, do you want to stay in this country that was created by these foreigners? We need that. The people of Manu, do you want to stay in that country that was created by foreigners? The Beti people, do you want to stay in that country that was created by foreigners? We have to have that discussion. Until we have that discussion, we'll go back to where we belong.
Yes,
we are different.
Maître, your friend Padi Asanga said yesterday, shortly after the meeting, that he told the Prime Minister to grant amnesty to separatist leaders who are abroad. The same case with those who have dropped their arms and embraced civilian life in the different DDR centers across the nation.
My point is, personally, if you kill a human being, you have to face justice. That's my personal point of view. It's not political.
And the law now. And the law now.
Civilians, you kidnap for ransom, you rape women and children. Who are you fighting? If you want to fight, you're fighting the military of the government. That's different. So I won't stand. Somebody have killed a civilian, raped a sister, killed a brother, which has got nothing to do with the fight, which is against the Geneva Convention. I say I should pardon them. No. If they want to pardon people who are fighting between military and paramilitary, I don't mind. But when you go and kill an individual, a civilian, you are a criminal. You are not fighting for the Anglophones. So we should distinguish criminality and people who are fighting for the interests and to have equal status, like the people of La République du Cameroon, who are still using their inherited structure like ENAM, Gendarme, École Normale Supérieure, Military Tribunal, Institut Pasteur. We want to have our own institution to which are liberal. I don't want to go to a military tribunal in the Cameroons. No, I don't want it. It's not my culture. I don't want somebody who is inexperienced.
But if you carry the guns, if you carry the guns or commit a crime with a gun, why should you not be judged at the level of the military tribunal? If you are carrying arms, you are not a military, man. What should a civilian be doing with a gun, unlicensed gun?
I'm happy that you come from this area, I presume from Doc or what. Do people not have guns? Do they not dance in traditional things? Before I was born, from time immemorial, people have guns. So when was it?
But they were not using the guns to commit crime. They were not using the guns to commit crime. They were using it for hunting and cradice.
When the government of La République du Cameroon used gun and kill people in Gabo, when the government of La République du Cameroon used gun and kill people that Boko Haram, women and children, they were using guns to commit crimes, the government.
But those people have been brought to book. Those people have been brought to book.
No, we never saw it. We never saw them in trial. Justice must be done and we have to see it. They can tell us that somebody was brought to book. They can tell us that Atangakuna have paid the money back. How do we know? We don't know. These people just sit and decide and do rubbish. Atangakuna must bring our money back. It's taxpayers' money. And we want to see justice being done. We don't want to be told, Mr. Biya have signed presidential degree. Mr. Biya have got the best satellite and TV in HUD, but we don't see it.
Ok, maître, à vous écouter, on a l'impression que vous êtes en train de prôner pour un gouvernement, une administration tribu par tribu au Cameroun.
Listen, in constitutional law, I keep on repeating this. My constitutional law lecturer, Bipumum Jean-Marie, said, He taught me constitutional law in the Cameroons. I came to the UK, I still study constitutional law, the same thing. In constitutional law, to build a country, you have to ask yourself, are we a homogeneous people or heterogeneous people? We are a heterogeneous people. So you have to build a constitution based on tribe, not based on geographical location, northwest, southwest. Southwest doesn't represent us. We have our culture. The Bassa people have a certain culture. The people of Balinyonga have a culture. The Beti people have a culture. You focus on the constitution on custom. Why do they call our laws customary laws? That's how they call our laws. Then you call the common law and the French law civil law. No, those customary laws should have been our laws because that's who we are. So when you bring all these things today we talk about, Cameroon was not built based on focusing on our who we are. We are a people. It's not tribalism what they say. You build a country. You see, Scottish people, they are running their place as Scottish. It's a tribe. We in Africa, when they call us terror, they say designer in this place. Shoemender, designer here. So why are we calling underlooking our customary laws? Are we not happy when we go and do our traditional marriage? That's our laws. Are we not happy when we have a problem, we have a way to solve our own problem traditionally? The fund of Mancom have got a way to solve the problem peacefully in Mancom. Same with the one of Bali, same with the people of Manu and other parts of the Cameroon. So what is wrong with that? Decentralization to me should focus on the tribes. It means we are already practicing our customary law. I'm not proposing anything new while I sit here. Let's practice our customary law. Let decentralization be focused on the tribes. Why? If you keep on doing these regions, only Bamenda will develop. Banso, Kikakilaki, Ndive, Oshe, they will not develop. But when you focus decentralization on the various tribes, we'll have more Bamendas in the northwest region. We'll have more Boyas Antico in the southwest region. Why is it that Bakassi is not developed? Why is it that Ekok is not developed? So you focus decentralization so that the local people can make their own decisions, not Mr. Bia, who is in a nursing home, to the Unity Palace. I'm calling it nursing home. But we have to make sure Mr. Bia does not make the decision. Decentralization is about sharing power. It's about giving power to local people. We cannot
Maître, pourquoi cette proposition semble ne pas être la bienvenue?
Because we are still run by the de facto president of France, Mr. Macron. We are still living in a country that they still need our resources. They constructed that country. We were never independent. When Ernest Wanji, Nyobe, Felix Mumi, Ndetumazam, and a host of others were fighting for the independence of the Cameroons, they killed them and they take puppets who dance to the tune of France and put them there. They came to Africa. They said, oh, countries who were not civilized, people who were not civilized in the United Nations Charter, Article 76 of B. People who were not civilized, they love us to govern us until we have independence. No, it's a 419, the United Nations Charter. They came there to steal raw materials and they have to kill the Umnyobe and the rest. When they killed the people who wanted to liberate Africans, they brought people like Amadou Ahijo. Andre Bida, they were kicked out. Dr. Edeli, they were kicked out and the host of order, and they brought these poodles, this puppet. So they are still taking the raw material. How come that we don't have industrial revolution started in 1760 in the Western world, in Britain, Europe, and the world? How come that we don't have industrial revolution? Why can we not manufacture our own wood, do our own things, mobile phone, manufacture our own car?
Maître, ça voudrait simplement dire, à vous écouter, maître, on a l'impression que si on applique la méthode que vous êtes en train de présenter, le Cameroun sortira de l'emprise de la France, de la colonisation.
Yes, I'm just saying, as I said, we are still colonized. We should forget about that. Listen, I'll tell you something. Democracy does not develop a country. Europe was constructed by dictators. England, dictators. Belgium, King Leopold of Belgium went and colonized, own personal property, Zaire, Congo today. They stole from Africa and constructed their country. The Arabs, they don't have democracy, but they are developing. If Mr. Biya was a real dictator who loved Cameroon, it can take our resources and develop our country. You can go to the foreign country and take loan and develop Bakassi, Ambas Bay. Why are they not doing it? Because France and the Western country are saying, don't develop, don't manufacture car. That is our farm. What we used to do, our slave plantation, you, the so-called president in Africa and the Cameroons, you have to still keep it our plantation. And when they elect you, you appoint everybody. So we are still colonized. Mr. Biya is a coconut. He's a black man in a white man's skin and other Africans.
So, Maitre, when you know all this, why blame Cameroonians for what is happening in Cameroon? Why do you still blame Cameroonians?
I don't blame Cameroonians. They should be talking like me. We need change. We need people who understand how to run a country. We don't need people when they put you there, you're about 70 or 80, you start stealing money, coming to where I come from my land, you're constructing a new house there. Some of them, why don't they should go to their villages? They cannot go to their villages. When they're there, they steal money at the age of 80, 70, and I'm not saying you cannot build a house. A civil servant, where do you get that money? The same people who have been there since 1960, what are they doing there? At some point in time, if you keep on doing the same thing for 40 years, you get tired. Mr. Lasha, I beg you, I'm not wishing you whether it's good luck or bad luck. I'm sure in about some years' time, you want to change and move to something else and do something else in your life. One man cannot sit in a position for 40 years. Kavaye, Juvett, all of the young Philomon, former Prime Minister Achide Achu. Achide Achu was Minister of Justice the night before I was born. Young Philomon was Minister of Territorial Administration when I was about 2 years old. They are still there. Musonga was there. What are they doing? Do they think other people cannot move and take over the country? Within short space of time that I've been here, I've seen the UK, we have changed how many prime ministers. Democracy is not a concept of Cameroon. We have copied democracy and we must copy democracy in the fullest. It's either we copy the democracy or we go back to our nations, our tribe. That's what we should do. Yes. We respect the country that was created by foreigners or we go away. Cameroon was not created by us. It's a slave plantation. We should change the country. We should change the name of Rio dos Cameros because it reminds me of what? Slavery, plantation. We should change it, everything.
Okay, Maitre. So what should you have expected from the Prime Minister and his team yesterday? Not the other utterances that you are challenging or questioning this morning. What should they have done yesterday or said to the public after the meeting?
The Prime Minister would have recommended to Mr. Biya, the President of the Cameroons, that Mr. President, we need to talk. We need to talk with people who don't share our ideology. We need to talk with people. Our Constitution of Cameroon says people are free of their opinion and ideology. We need to bring people, whether you are a separatist or what, but as I said, the government is a separatist government because the policies that they practice is for separation. That's what they do. They don't want to listen to other people. We can bring people with different opinion because I say, somebody might say he wants federation. You create federation, everybody in the federation is CPDM. How does it move us forward? You have to bring people who don't agree with you. The Prime Minister brought people in the session. You brought the people who are singing the same song. We'll never solve the problem of Cameroon.
Paddy is not singing the same song. When I listened to what Paddy said...
When Paddy said one Cameroon, what is one Cameroon? One Cameroon means that a deep seaport in Kribi. One Cameroon means that a road in Kribi. That's one Cameroon. One Cameroon means discrimination. That's what Paddy is singing. What does one Cameroon mean? Tell me. One Cameroon means there's electricity or good road in the part. One Cameroon means there is a reference hospital in certain part of Cameroon and there's no reference hospital in North and South.
Maitre, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. I've been meaning to ask you. Let me ask you this today. Have you had the opportunity to tour all the 10 regions of the country?
I have toured it directly or indirectly. My blood relative come from Marwa. I'm with them. My nephew is there now. He's in Yaoundé. Was born there, but just went there. Just came back. Giziga is my village. Salak is my village. My blood relative come there. I have more than 100 relatives.
I asked you that question because the problems you are enumerating are the same problems that other citizens from other regions are facing. I had the opportunity to tour Cameroon 2 times during the last presidential election, and I saw for myself the problems they are enumerating: bad roads, electricity.
Mr. Lasha, I don't mix kerosene and petrol. Yes. I am saying something. We can come to that other problem. I've given you a solution here. The first problem is two countries came together. A country is political authority, a population, and a territory. That's a problem. So Southern Cameroon had a prime minister, House of Assembly, and territory and population. We came together, okay? The question I'm complaining now is not even marginalization. Why are you imposing a NAM from France that they got from 1945 from General that they got in Northwest and Southwest? Why are you imposing a corps normal superiors that you inherited from France in 1793 in Northwest and Southwest? Why are you imposing military tribunal that you inherited from France in 1794 from France to us, Institut Pasteur? Why is it that the people of the Northwest and Southwest, they cannot impose their liberal culture, their jury system, their elected governor? Why can we not impose our own truth? If we were doing, you translate a name from France, from Dictator General Charles de Gaulle to Nasser. Why should you translate it? Let's have our own institution and the other part have their own institution. Then when it comes now to other parts of Cameroon, this is how we solve it. Decentralization should go to all the tribes. Mr. Biya should not sit in a 2D or his nursing home and be making decisions for us. Mr. Biya should allow local people to make their decision. Give them the money. If they want a bridge, they will have it. If they want international airport, they will have it. If they want to create CDC,
are the people ready to champion those developmental projects they are talking about? You give them the money, they steal it without doing it.
Listen,
probably that's the reason why Mr. Biya does not want to.
If you give them, listen, Mr. Lasha, that's why democracy is good. If the people of so they elect certain people, they give them the money, they steal it. What happened? In 4 years' time, they will kick them out, and there's a criminal justice system because they are accountable to the people. You are talking about stealing money. All the people, majority of Forba stop people from Mendoza, from Ababa, from Tituseswa, from Mebengo, all they are criminals, they are thieves. If Mr. Biya keep on appointing thieves, has he got the right judgment to be a president of La République du Cameroon? My answer is no.
No, when he appoints, he does not appoint their consciences.
Listen,
yes.
I'm telling you, I'm speaking English language. If you're the Prime Minister of England, listen what I'm saying is very important.
Yes.
If you're the Prime Minister of England, you keep on appointing thieves. Do you know what? They'll kick you out because they say you don't have a judgment. Listen, how many times before they appoint people, they check their backgrounds? If me, I keep on appointing thieves that steal taxpayers' money. I am the problem because I'm the one making the appointment. Before you appoint people, you should know if they have probity or integrity. You don't appoint people who will steal money. They're stealing. You are responsible. The buck stops with the leader, with the head of state. It's not Mendoza. It's not Titus Israel. It's not Abba. It's not Ataradwa. It's Paul Biya. If you want to put people in office, know the people are clean and they have probity and integrity.
Okay, Gwladys, we are coming to the end. Maybe one last question.
Effectivement, maître, il faudrait qu'on mette des gens qui sont intègres. Mais au jour d'aujourd'hui, on a l'impression qu'on a de moins en moins de personnes intègres, surtout lorsqu'il s'agit des nominations dans ce pays.
Say it again. I was a little bit distracted. Maybe I was looking at your lipstick.
Maître, je disais tantôt que de moins en moins, on a de personnes intègres au Cameroun parce que lorsque tu vas même dans n'importe quel ministère, dans n'importe quelle organisation au Cameroun, tu te rendras bien compte que de moins en moins, on a des personnes intègres.
The truth is, my name is Mr. Truth. I say it, people don't like it. You guys are journalists. Send an investigative journalist to go to Kavaye Jibri's office. Everybody who is around there, they are from his tribe, majority. They'll be speaking where he comes from. Send somebody. It's not an issue of today. From our days, it's not only Francophone. From Pamuna, it was the Gary Math, Gary Physics. They do the E.T. Egwe. Everybody in the P&T was Bayangi. Abu Dhabi, everybody in Ecole Normal was Bayangi. They do that in Cameroon. How can we stop it? Even the Prime Minister of Cameroon, I would say it. I know things from when he was director of Eric. I know people is relative for this. That's how Cameroon functions. When you are in a position, you put people because they are of a tribe. And this is one of the reasons we are losing in Cameroon. In the Western democracy, you see people with talent. Mr. Lasha, Gwladys, Mr. Tebong, you might not like me, but if you know Alex have got talent, you bring them together. It's like a football team. You look for talent, people who think differently, people who have correct opinion, rather than bringing people who think alike, who are like donkeys. When you say jump, they say how high. It is time we start bringing people difference of opinion, people who think differently, people who understand things differently. When you put everybody that thinks different, like Honorable Nietzsche, bad. Alex Ngepi, suspended. Why do you suspend them? In a political party, people have to have differences of opinion. Then you come out together with a manifesto. Then you go out to promote it. We are going to change that country. I have hope. I believe in it. The time is coming very soon.
Ok, maître, ça voudrait simplement dire que il y a des détournements au Cameroun dans tous les secteurs simplement parce qu'il y a du népotisme.
Yes, our problem is not tribalism, because tribalism means loyalty. If you ask me, I see Mr. Tante who comes on this program, I see, is it Bangola or what, in a village there? He loves his tribe. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you put people in position, because it's my brother, it's my sister, if they are competent, no problem. But the problem is, we put people who are not competent, who don't understand anything. Wake me from sleep and tell me there's a problem in Cameroon. Metro Alex Ndive, how do we solve it? I'll take a second and give you a solution. You need people who know how to run a country. I've been doing politics in the UK for more than 20 years, and I know how to run a country.
Thank you, Metro Alex. Thank you very much. And we hope that you come back to Cameroon and run our country for us, as we keep saying every day. Thank you for your inputs. Thank you to televiewers on my media private television for watching this very last edition of the program for the week, produced for us by Christain, Tebong. We were Gwladys, Bomotonguina, and myself, Lasha. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.